Hello and welcome to the podcast We Are Selling, brought to you by Realtor, the home of pitch, sign and sell. My name's Lee Woodward, the creator and author of the Complete Salesperson's course. Today's tip is the ultimate leave behind. We are discussing the listing conversation, the listing presentation, and the sequence of events that make that best possible business case story for you going in to present in the lounge room and win the business. Throughout this particular podcast, each week we've done some amazing listing presentation tips, and one of those that had huge feedback out there in the marketplace was Fees 1, 2, 3. And this podcast is teaching technique. And today's technique is how we utilise the ultimate leave behind. Let me explain what I mean. Prior to going out to your listing presentation, listing conversation, most of you are using Realtor Pitch to send your digital introduction or your full proposal where you've got the fees and the marketing calendar switched off. And that is to set the scene, introduce yourself, have an agenda, a video clip, some comparable sales or recent sales that sets the scene in a digital light that you are capable, you know what you're doing, and you're ready to go in and communicate with the owner. And this digital pitch link direct to someone's phone as a scrollable moment of a world-class professional presentation definitely sets the scene, and as the user knows, you get notified as soon as they open it, and they may open it 4 or 5 times before your arrival, and you are notified. So the leave behind is a blended approach. It's a paper-based document, a 3-fold chat board that you can use with the client to explain the deliverables of you and your company. And over the years, I've built quite a few of these. Only 2 years ago, I built the Matt Steinwade Leave Behind, which was one of my favourites. It had 3 segments to it, which was behind the scenes, going live, and bringing it all together. So picture 3 A4 panels that are an attached folded document, printed beautifully. And then below that, there was 10 deliverables of what Matt would be doing in each stage. And even for someone like Matt, he doesn't need props and tools and so forth. But at that particular time, we just finished recording The Road to Number 1. And suddenly, Matt had said, people want a document from me at the end of it. So what can we put together? And when you're building a leave behind, they're not meant to be a beautiful graphical experience. They're quite an industrial strength document of just facts, figures and numbers, or actions that you'll be taking on behalf of the customer. The owner doesn't know what the owner doesn't know. They think it just goes on the portals, you do an open and it sells. Where, as we know, some of our best buyers come from the followers of our database. So people that have stopped looking, but you know exactly what they're looking for. It's 2 years down the track. They put it on the back burner and you introduce them to the property. Hence, staged marketing is so important in our approach of communicating real estate. One of the most famous listing presentations I ever built was for the legendary company Hockney Stewart. And that original presentation had a brilliant framework of there is only 3 stages to selling and 6 decisions you need to make. And that was a storybook style presentation that the agents would do in the lounge room. But later on, it got reinvented again into a leave behind. And during that time, one of Australia's most incredible agents, Toby was working under the brand, and him and I did the audio explainer of how that comes together. And to really bring clarity to this tip today, I want to do a deep dive into the psychology and thinking that happens in a leave behind. And to do that, I'm going to cross to the amazing Toby Parker.
Thanks a lot, Lee. Thanks for having me.
Toby, the presentation has been rebuilt into a leave behind. Can you share with our listener how you're best using it and what you do with it?
I think the major wins that we've had with this new document have been along the fact that it's more interactive than the past ones we've had. It's more of a leave behind and a full presentation that you're actually supposed to draw and write on and guide them through and tick off the couple of little key points as we go.
Toby, in your document is the rollout plan, which is basically a blank calendar, and you're using that load and close technique. Take us into that.
The fact that I can step them through a calendar, I can actually draw the dates in, the time, when the photo is going to be, and have them interacting with that, and be a bit more on the fly, then hang on, I'll come back to you with a printed document. I sort of pre-frame the fact that this will form part of it, and then it gives me a reason to go back and create something post this should we need to follow up and reappoint with something further.
What is also interesting in this leave behind document is the why Hocking Stewart. Now, when you're in the lounge room, Toby, do you go over this, or is this just something that they're reflecting on later on?
Because you've got to get away from talking about yourself too much. I think that you've already been invited in, or alternatively, you've proven your point to be there. They've put you on the list. You've now got to demonstrate to them why you're the best agent for the job. People are very digitally driven these days. They expect you to have an idea about how to market the property. I think that's why you're there and what differentiates you. And you can get a bit lost in the noise that's out there too with, Audience Maximise and Premiere and et cetera, et cetera. Whilst they're all terrific products, they do become a bit confusing for somebody who hasn't sold perhaps ever.
So, interesting point here, though, is we look at our role in the process to listen, to build, advise, offer support, engage, conduct, utilise, communicate, recommend, negotiate, facilitate and ensure. If we were to go through that point by point, we've lost our airtime of, let me get to the part why you want us on board. We know people buy off people, but if it is a tough decision later on, they're going to go back and reflect over this. You mentioned just a moment ago about the rollout plan, which is really the calendar of events. And to me, this is when they really start to see a production process. It's really a situation now that any question we asked, and let's be clear on this, questions get answers, statements get judged. At time of recording, we've just seen quite a significant change of market. That change of market has made it more critical than ever, not only list the property, but start the relationship correctly. And when we look at this part of the document with our preparation, marketing and outcomes, one thing we wanted to know, or wanted the owner to know, is there is only 3 steps. If there was 485, you're not going to hold their attention. Toby, how are you delivering the 3 steps, and what tips have you got for our listener and watcher at this point?
Sure. Well, I think the most important thing you can learn in your own mind is that structure of the preparation, the marketing and the outcomes. And also, more importantly, I do guide them through, this is where I spend 2/3, or if not more, 3/4 of the whole presentation. If you can get this message across, this is where you separate yourself from the pack.
When we look at a document, sometimes it's like, yep, this is great, I'm understanding what you two are saying, meaning you and I, but how do I launch into that? How do you present, from your perspective, these 3 steps and 6 decisions? And just for our understanding of the document, we might have the preparation, the marketing and the outcomes, which is our beautiful 3-step process. But the decisions, the client decisions, are down here. So, for example, in preparation, you've just got to select an agent and a method of sale. With marketing, we just got to pick the right visual communication program with stage marketing that's going to get the property sold, and then a campaign activation date. The outcomes are simple. We've got to get an agreeable, negotiated price for you and a date to move. And I think clarity kicks in here, and you're quite okay to say, look, there's only 3 steps and 6 decisions. This is them. Now let me just explain the preparation part to you and go back into it, because that way they're actually getting a helicopter view of, okay, fantastic. There's only 3 steps, 6 decisions. Now we've got our chat points. How do you launch into it?
Exactly like that, Lee. Must say, there's 3 stages, there's 6 decisions. It's a really simple process. We've tried to, it might look like there's a lot on this paper when you look at, but they're actually the things that Hocking Stewart are providing to you. But you've only got to decide a couple of things here today. One is the selection of your agent and the method of sale. Now, have you sold before? And if so, how did it go? I will always throw that there in this point in time. And have you had a recent experience? And also ask them what's their understanding on the current market, because a lot of people are shying away from auctions, although what we're finding is that the auction is creating more of a sense of urgency, and they are certainly a far better way at still selling because of the opportunities to get the property sold, the 3 different chances we have of selling prior with an auction as opposed to a private sale with a set asking price.
So beautiful. Questions get answers. Have you sold a property forward? So how did it go? I'll respond to that. Then you've got the, what's your current understanding of the current market? Now, that's a great question, because we want some acknowledgement from them that this is not going to be easy. We've really got to hit it hard out there to get you a result amongst the noise of other properties. And then the other one that I'd like to throw in here for our listener is, have you definitely made the decision to sell the property? Yes, we have. Using the leave behind, you've made that decision of what you want them to know, understand, and remember you for when you leave the lounge room, because you still be doing your digital proposal from pitch, although some people are sending the proposal as a pre-listing kit. But as a final question for you, Toby, when it comes to that last part of the fees, the marketing side, how do you get into that conversation to bring this all to a closure? And if you don't, you'll be leaving the document behind, but if there is a chance to sign it, what do you do?
Yeah, so at this point in time, I often say, selling this home is incredibly important to you. In fact, I can understand that, but for me, it's a referral and repeat business that comes from doing a good job, that you then put me in touch with your neighbour or your friend that has a home to sell. And I know that if I work hard for you at this point in time, you'll happily refer me on to your friends and family. Then I'll also say to them, look, if we can come to an agreement on fee for service, if they're mentioning about this tonight, are you happy to put me to work? But in order to frame that, I would have said, look, are you comfortable with the timing, the auction date? Are you comfortable with the marketing we've put forward? We've made an investment here around 7,000 to 8,000 stage marketing. Are you comfortable with the presentation that we've discussed? Yes. So if we can come to an agreement on the fee, you're happy to put me to work? And then I just wait. And if they say yes, you've got them. And sometimes you can trick them in because they say 3, 4, 5 yeses and they go, yes, yes, yes. Oh, you got me. So it's a nice trick.
Toby Parker, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to our success.
Thanks for having us, Lee. It's been a blast.
The Hocking Stewart Leave Behind was a very good document. Then, as we know, they were acquired by Bell, and Toby's now moved on to the Bell brand, and both brands are a multi-brand under that company. But these structures of how we get information across are so important. I just also finished another one for Image Property Group in Brisbane, and with that particular document, again, it was a threefold, but we did a different structure or framework there where we had real estate's all about attract, engage, commit. This is how we attract them, this is how we engage them, and this is how we get them to commit. And that could be the digital sale, the auction, extracting the offer, everything we do as a real estate professional. But I think what I'd love you to get out of today's tip is it's not about the examples of visuals. What do you want to be remembered for? What deliverables do you want that will justify your fee and fix that problem of the owner doesn't know what the owner doesn't know? And I think all of you work so hard to transact real estate, but at the same time, I think we make a mistake as an industry by saying it's simple, it's easy, it's sold off-market, it's sold first day, full price, above reserve. It's not easy. There's 138 tasks between listed and settled, and with compliance and everyone who works on it, not just the salespeople, we deserve to get our fees, and our fees should be going up. And we should be proud of our fees and not worried about it and driving it into the ground. And the leave behind could be that ultimate leverage moment where you articulate with clarity who you are, what you offer, and how you do it. And just in closing, when you get your document together, you don't have to go through it point by point. You would lose your audience. I know with Matt, he would say, everything I'm about to say is covered here, and I'm going to leave this with you. And he is covering because he's helicoptering over the document. Same with Image, same with Hocking. And once you get that right, it's a beautiful way of just standing by your process, your systems. Dane Atherton, I know they just completed their own complete salesperson course in-house. And again, we've done an excellent leave behind, 3-panel, branded beautifully, in line with how everybody wants to feel and be delivered. And it's the ultimate leave behind. Thank you for listening to the program. And just to also let you know, as of last week, the Complete Salesperson Course audiobook is now available on Audible. Thank you for listening. I'm Lee Woodward. I'll speak to you next week.